Hi, everybody. This is Getrude Matshe again here in Wellington, New Zealand. I have yet another amazing guest on the Her Story podcast. Catherine, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Please tell everybody where you are, how old you are, and share with us your story this morning.
Sure. I am in LA now. I'm originally from Chicago. I moved out here about 7.5 years ago to kind of do over my life. I'm 57 years old and I shout it to the rooftops.
Oh,
You're
look it.
catching me coming back from New York City. So I am a little, just barely got my hair, washed this morning. I'm 57 and I, made it my mission to, be very proud of my age and boldly shout my age out so that we don't have to hide it. We don't have to be, ashamed of our age. To me, it's the coolest thing. I feel very different than I did when I was much younger.
How did you get to this point?
Well, okay, you said open up about the beginning of my life. I'm a Me Too. When I was a young child, I was sexually abused. I also went on to attract that because I was never able to get any help for it. It was just, you kind of, I was silenced. I had no voice and I was, taught to really be invisible. And I grew up in an alcoholic household. And so, I really went through life without any sense of myself, and I continued to repeat the abuse over and over. And I left an abusive marriage to come out to LA 7.5 years ago to get my master's in spiritual psychology. And so, while I was getting that the master's, I ended up getting Lyme disease, diagnosed with Lyme disease. I had had health challenges much of my life, and I went in and out of doctors' offices and hospitals. And nobody would believe me. I looked fine. Part of the thing with Lyme disease is you look well, but I was literally dying on the inside. So anyway, it really, by the time I was diagnosed, I had it in my brain. And I was bedridden for a year with seizures and couldn't walk and down to 100 pounds. And on 11/11/14, I left my body in a near-death experience. And I didn't want to be here. So I was quite puzzled when I survived. I was really done. I'd had a lifetime of a lot of trauma and abuse. I didn't have a voice. I didn't have a passion, a purpose. I had 2 children and I'd raised them. But other than that, when you are in your mid-50s and there's no place for you in society. So I didn't have anything of my own at that point, and I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe I was capable of building anything. I didn't believe I was capable of anything because that's what I was told. So my daughter had actually told me about Instagram and had me upload an Instagram account and started taking pictures of me on her cell phone and putting pretty outfits together, and I started getting better and better, and I took my focus off of illness and I put it 110% on wellness. And before I knew it, I had people reaching out, asking me what I was doing, and I sent my cell phone to hundreds of people. And I had a business then, and from there it just really exploded into this whole international community, lots of social service campaigns that reached 10 million people, and really creating a platform for, initially it was women over 50, called the Fierce 50, and that morphed into this Forever Fierce revolution where we opened it up to younger women because we had a lot of Gen Xers saying, hey, what about us?
Yeah.
We're forgotten, because midlife to me isn't an age. Midlife is an experience when the world starts to treat us differently, and then we start feeling differently about ourselves.
Oh, how incredible. What an amazing story. What motivates and inspires you and makes you want to wake up every morning and do what you do?
That's a good question. Other people, I have an amazing community of women all around the world. Like I said, some in New Zealand, some in Australia, some in the UK, everywhere, all over the United States. And it's these women. I have a team of about 15 women that help me, and all volunteers, and they've all come to me naturally, organically, to help me run these social service campaigns and to get this message out in a big way, and then also on our events. So they're what get me out of bed. I don't want to get out of bed every day. I'm not going to be someone who says, oh God, everything is just peachy now, because it's not. This is an uphill battle to shift a perception, to take on a paradigm, and to get the world thinking differently about, older women, older men, just, age in general. It's not easy. So I love what I do, but it has not been an easy path.
Tell me a little bit about your last social service campaign.
Sure. So we did three different ones in the past year. The first one was called the Fierce 50. The Fierce 50, the idea I had was to bring 50 women together on the 50th day of the year, and over the age of 50, in a collaborative, supportive community of women over 50. We ended up having about 70 bloggers, and what we did was we paired them up. We used their blogs basically to share their stories. So they got to know each other personally, they blogged about it, and then we created this community called the Forever Fierce Revolution from that. After that, our second social service campaign was Bridging the Gap. And Bridging the Gap, we took 100 midlife influencers and 100 millennial influencers and paired them up. The reason being, when we get to know each other and share through our hearts and our stories, our perceptions and judgments naturally fall away. And then we understand, yeah, it's not about age. We're all really the same on the inside, and everyone has a story. So we reached almost 10 million people with that social service campaign. Then we did another one this year called Forever Fierce, and that was really, it wasn't just bloggers. We opened it up to all women, and we had our blogs sharing other women's stories. So we could, in the blogging world, to me, a blog is just a means of having your voice. I wanted to take any sort of intimidation factor away and use our platforms to share other women's voices.
Oh, how incredible. Incredible. So if you were to leave us with three nuggets of wisdom, what would they be? One could be, if I can just prompt you, what would you have told your younger self about life, knowing what you do now? And then anything else you want to add?
I think the number one most important thing, I wish that we could raise our children differently, raise them as human beings, not as our children, through our own mistakes. And so I would go back and I would tell her that kind of forget what everybody else tells you, know who you are on the inside, and, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to speak up. Know that you're pretty amazing and special inside, that you are here for a reason, that you have a purpose, that you have a path, that you can use your life for good, and you have more power inside of you than you'll ever know.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. And I think women need to hear that. It doesn't matter how old you are. There's always that little girl inside of all of us who needs to be empowered, inspired, supported. I really thank you for coming on board and sharing with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And what can I do for you? I'm just so honored that you came on this call.
Well, I suppose it's obviously you joined our community today, which is wonderful. So we have this Facebook group, about 6,000 women around the world. It started last year, and it's all word of mouth. So the reason we have this community, number one, was to have a place where we had some connection. We had connection, community. It's all heart-centered, so there are no mean girls allowed. And we want to get this message out in a big way, because you won't notice, one midlife woman on a street corner, but you will notice, 10,000, 100,000, a million. So our goal is really to get this message around the world. And as I said, we just had this Fierce Con, this conference in LA, which really wasn't a conference, it was a connection. We had some amazing inspirational speakers, and we also live streamed it, so you could see it anywhere in the world. So if you're in New Zealand, you could see it there, you can see it in Australia. So everything we do, we try to make accessible to every single woman everywhere. And it's really changing lives. We hear from women every day that we're changing their lives.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. I'll definitely, now that I'm a member of the group, add a few more women that I know and help you grow that.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for doing what you're doing to help the message and empower and inspire women at midlife and beyond, or 50 and over, any and all women. It's a good thing.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, keep in touch.
Okay, sounds good. Have a blessed day.